Hey there all you cool cats and kittens. Chelsea Rich here from 913 Hair Studio. Today's video is all about braids. Today I wanted to talk about how to braid, how to French braid, and how to make your braids appear fuller by this little method I use called pancaking. Fun story about me, I still remember learning how to braid. I was in first grade. We were on spring break in Anchorage, Alaska. Spring break 97. I had been pretending like I knew how to braid for a hot minute, and then all of a sudden I was actually braiding my sister's hair and I lost my mind, so excited, and I made my mom come look at it and we celebrated, and the next day I was chased by a moose. I wish I was kidding. A few products and tools I'm going to be using throughout this video today are dry texture spray, a volumizing and texturizing powder, a clip, a comb, and clear hair ties. If you don't have clear hair ties, don't fret. If you have scrunchies you want to use because you want to feel fun and sassy, do that too. Let's get into it. If you already know how to braid, be a skipper. Skip past this part. It's not going to offend me. This is me showing you how to braid, so I hope you're catching on. Braiding is pretty simple, but it can be hard. So if you feel like you don't know what you're doing, just keep trying. This is how I learned to braid. I just took a section of hair like this. You want 3 even sections. Make sure they're nice and clean. So run your fingers all the way through the end. Make sure they're nice and clean. Separate them. I like to start with my fingers at the top so you have more control over your braid. And then your middle piece is the star of the show. So when you're doing a classic braid, you're just going to cross your outside pieces over your middle piece. And then the one you cross over becomes your new middle piece. Like so. New middle. Now I want to cross over this one. My old middle came over, and this is my new middle. So I want to take this side piece and I want to cross him over, and he's the new star of the show. Middle piece, cross over, new middle piece, new star of the show, and so on and so forth. Okay, then you just go all the way down. And there you have it, my dudes. Braiding 101. Now I'd like to take the time to talk about how to make your braids look fuller. If you're a fine-haired queen like me, you know that this little braid is not gonna cut it. No. A method I love to use called pancaking has changed my life. Pancaking is pretty straightforward. It's basically just tugging at the edges of your little braid to pull them out a little bit and it makes it look a little bit flatter, which is why I think it's called pancaking, but it makes it appear so much fuller. The first thing I like to do when pancaking, if I have product around me, is add some sort of texture spray or volumizing powder. That just gives it a little bit more grit and helps with your pancaking. But if you don't have either of those things, don't worry, you can still pancake with no product. So for today, I'm going to do some dry texture spray first. What you're gonna do is you're gonna be trading off, holding down here, because you're gonna pull out little sections, trade off, pull out little sections, trade off. So I like to start at the top. I wanna start with my first little braid bubble right here. You're gonna need to hold this down here tight, but not too tight, because you're gonna need to loosen your grip as you're pulling out up here. It takes a little bit of practice, but trust me, once you get it, you're gonna love it. I know I've said that before, but trust me. So what you're gonna do is just pull out the edge. You don't wanna pull out the whole section because it's defeating the purpose. You just wanna pull out the edge, and you can even do a couple or a few on one side. You just want to feel it out as you go. And sometimes you can look at it and be like, oh, this little guy didn't get touched at all. Let's go back through. And then sometimes that'll affect your braid down through here, just go back through, tug it pieces. Just take it slow, and if you need to redo it, redo it. That's the best part about braids. You can dig it out and redo it really easily. So there you have it. That is Pancaking 101. So if you already know how to braid, but you just want to learn how to French braid, this is where we're going to talk about all things French braiding. I would love to discuss just how to do a regular French braid, but I also want to talk about how to do an inverted French braid, which is kind of like a 3D French braid where it looks like the French braid is on top. Hey guys, how many more times am I going to say French braid? So I'm just gonna show you guys here on the side of my head just how to do both of those French braids, and then I'd love to go in and actually do 2 French braids styled on myself. A couple things I wanna go over before we actually get into the French braiding. A French braid is a lot like a regular braid. You're just adding pieces of hair to your braid as you go. The middle piece is still the star of the show, and you're just crossing pieces over that middle piece, but you're adding pieces of hair to it as you go. It took me a while to learn how to French braid, so just keep practicing. If you need to practice on other people, do it. If you need to practice on your kid, hopefully they'll let you do it. Honestly, thinking back on it, I practiced on my Barbies. All of my Barbies had French braids. So we're gonna take a section just like this, and I want you to get 3 even pieces, and I want them to be clean sections. For French braiding especially, I want you to start with your fingers at the top, because you want to make sure everything stays tight. So to get started with a regular classic French braid, you're going to be crossing the pieces over each other. And what I like to do is I like to cross pieces over about twice. Like I like to give 2 little crossovers. So 1 crossover, 2 crossover. And I like to start adding hair once I do that second crossover. Now French braiding on yourself is really hard, so just give yourself some grace. But see how I just added a piece to my middle piece? Now my outside piece over here is going to cross over my middle. Once you've crossed over, that's when I like to add the hair. Okay, so find that edge piece, find your middle piece, and add your hair to your middle piece. And that's your new section. That's your new middle piece all together. Now you're gonna take this outside piece, cross it over your middle, make that outside piece your new middle, and you're gonna add a section of hair to your new middle piece. So, it's all about that adding. There we go. Okay, so there's your middle piece with your new piece of hair added. So at this point, I can already tell I'm getting a little sloppy. So I like to go through and just hold a little bit higher so I can make everything a little bit tighter. Cross that other piece over to make your new middle. Add a new piece of hair to that middle piece, and so on. Now with French braiding, you can go as far down as you want. I'm just gonna go down a little bit farther for you guys. And there you have it. From here to here is your classic French braid. And then from here to here is just your classic braid. So as far as pancaking a French braid goes, just gently tug. And this just makes it look more full, which everyone loves fullness. Just gently tug at those edges. And there you have it, a pancaked French braid and a pancaked regular braid. The last thing I wanted to talk about and teach you is an inverted braid or a 3D braid where the braid looks like it's floating on top. It's the same thing as your French braid, but instead of crossing your pieces over, you're crossing your pieces under. So you're gonna stay the same with your 3 even pieces, through your 3 even sections. And with your regular French braid, like I said, you go over. We're gonna start by crossing under. Cross under 1, okay? Cross under 2. So once you get your second piece crossed under, hike your fingers up to the top. Grab that piece of hair you want to add to it. Now this one's a lot harder and is going to take a lot more practice, so please be patient with yourself. Okay, so now we've got all that added together. Okay, then we're gonna cross under, make that new middle piece, grab your section of hair and add it to that middle piece. Cross under, there's your new middle. Grab that section of hair you want to add to it. Add it to your middle. Now they're added. The side piece needs to come cross under, become your new middle. And just do that all the way down. Okay, so this is an inverted French braid. I'm gonna go ahead and braid down a little bit more, just regular. So now we're gonna pancake our inverted French braid. Now an inverted French braid looks so good pancaked. Like all the things you see on Pinterest, most of them are inverted French braids and most of them are pancaked. Just remember, Pinterest is mostly filters and extensions. You too can look like a Pinterest picture after watching this video. I know I'm going to. Okay, there you have it. This is your inverted French braid from here to about here, and this is the rest of your braid, but just notice that your inverted braid blends in so much better all together, and a fun thing you can do is pin it back, and you can even look like you have like your whole crown is braided, but don't, you little jokester, that's for another video. So the last thing I'm gonna show you guys is probably my go-to summer look, especially when I'm going to the pool or at the lake. I love to do 2 French braids inverted, and I'm gonna show you guys how to style it as well. Okay, my cool cats and kittens, that is it. This is my double inverted French braid, pancaked to look fabulous. Obviously, if you want to feel super, super cool, put some earrings on, get your dangle downs, throw on a sun hat. I don't know, just do what makes you feel cool. It's perfect for the pool, for the lake, for the beach, wherever you want to be, whatever you're going to be doing. If you feel like you got something from this video, like you learned how to braid, or you learned how to French braid, or you just refreshed your skills, show me on Instagram, tag me, chelsearich.hair. I would love to see your work. See you guys next week.